looking to walk away with that win. And here we are again. It's going to be the first round Z ban from Kongdoo. Really just don't want to give that one over to BDD.
So CJ's first priority is to deny the poke comp. You saw Kongdoo on a pick comp, and they clearly showed a lot less ability to finish out games or snowball a lead in the mid game. So Nidalee is banned away as the first ban from CJ. And as you say, on the blue side, so you have room for those last pick specials to ban away, and you ban away the Zed.
And we'll just see how being on the red side treats CJ Entus, because they have a pretty atrocious record when it comes to that. I guess 1-11 or something on the red side.
The question is, does CJ ban out the Varus or Corki as the last pick, or are they forced into a scenario where they have to ban something higher priority and the startings of a poke comp comes over to Kongdoo? You're on the red side, you have less flexibility about your bans. Feels like something will get through, especially when Kongdoo throw out a LeBlanc ban.
Yeah, they have to be really careful and precise with this last ban. We saw that Sol did play the Corki in game 1.
They go to the Varus, so
off, and there it is.
Instant lock on the Corki, as expected. Lulu's still available.
Yeah.
You know that BDD can play the Lulu, he did fine, but just didn't have enough friends to really pick up the slack. Of course, they really did have a poor team comp when it came to engage that game.
Yeah.
Where does CJ go with it? I don't want to see them locking in both solo lanes with their first round like they did last time. They went for that Lulu Fiora combo, and honestly, they paid for it.
Yeah. So this first round of picks will be pretty telling as far as what CJ wants to do.
Alistair and something seems like.
Alistair Elise.
Alistair and something. Look, I'm a League of Legends analyst. Draft Alistair and something. Well,
you never know.
There's the something.
Look at that.
Well, it makes sense. Again, you're not showing your cards. You have a very strong dueling jungler, and you have Alistair. And it's Mad Life, so why not?
Yeah, we just need to hope that they have a bit more engaged this time around.
Look, already, they're not showing both their solo lanes in the first round, so I like that from CJ. Poppy's banned away, so Tara's shown the most on Fiora, but maybe we'll see a unique pick for CJ.
I'm just hoping that they don't shoehorn themselves into the same team comp that they ran in the first game.
You know, there is that possibility, but I have hopes that CJ realized that they really need initiation one time, just somebody.
Though it would be a little bit different because this time Crush would not have Nidalee and Edge wouldn't have Varus, as it was in that first game. It looks like we are going to be getting Edge on the Corki, perhaps, if they do lock in this Ezreal, and possibly our first Rek'Sai of the day. And last.
True, it is our last game of the day, so first and last would be the reality. Ezreal, potential takeaway from Kramer, who's had 2 games of Ezreal tonight already. Yeah. Ezreal, Kalista, synonymous with Kramer, both of them potentially taken away. Speaking of takeaways, it's going to be a Corki 80 carry, actually, as Lulu is lock-in from Kongdoo. Obviously, outside chance of Lulu top.
Yeah, always that possibility, but more than likely going to be the Lulu mid. And, I mean, once again, Sol did play quite well with the Corki, so it's not too much reason to not give that to him. I do like this, though. BDD is actually tooling around with this Fizz.
I don't like this. I have many, many worries about CJ drafting no wave, clear assassin comps and losing. They did it last week, they did it last year. Fizz is usually a bad time for CJ Entus, and also matchup into Lulu is not that one-sided, but they've got last pick, so they don't need to rush. Are they going to last pick for Untara or BDD? That's the question we don't know the answer to.
Yeah. Not even showing a hover over quite just yet. Ezreal, of course, did not get taken by Edge. It was the Lulu that got picked up. So Kramer, who has been performing on this champion consistently, might just go ahead and say, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So.
And they've locked in Orianna. We've seen so little Orianna in Champions. The lane matchup against Lulu was a good one for Orianna, so laning-wise will do just fine. Feels like this is a champion that's just too late in power spike. That a lot of teams have passed her over for champions, where when the game starts getting away from you, it really gets away from you. But BDD brought back the Azir, now bringing back the Orianna.
Yep, so just shaking things up on his first day here at Champions. So we'll see how this one goes for him and what these final picks for Kongdoo are going to be. Hover over the cannon, not something that we've seen a whole lot of, but a little bit here.
Rocks Tigers 2-0 with cannon. Only 2 games this season, so one of the few undefeated champions in Champions. But we're not going to see it.
Yeah, the Thresh hover over here.
If they go for Nautilus, they have really a no damage situation on the side of Kongdoo, literally only magic damage. So I'd be worried if they pigeonhole on pure tankiness, but
Ooh.
Hippo has been consistently only playing tank. It was Roach that came into the lineup and played the likes of Gangplank and Fiora. But we're going to finally see 6.4 Gangplank.
Okay, 6.4. We'll see how this goes without having those 5 barrels.
You're opting into the Fiora matchup. That, look, we have seen people like Flame win this matchup, but I feel that's a culmination of team pressure rather than a lane matchup that Gangplank can actually boss himself.
Yeah.
Gangplank has a very expensive build and now generates less gold. He's also less reliable in team fights because you have 3 barrels and then you have to start waiting for cooldowns. Feels like Gangplank was nerfed in both ways, you know. It became a lot more less satisfying to play, a lot less likely to hit those late game item builds he needs. Thinking about the Gnar, which is another actual very successful champion in the LCK, but probably going to settle on the Fiora. If they take Fiora, they have 3 ball carriers here.
Yeah.
Alistair, of course, can be an excellent ball carrier. You'd know very well. Aframoon doing that a lot over in NA.
Yep.
Elise also can repel into a fight. And
Basically.
Fiora herself, it's not the wild growth, but certainly has a similar effect.
Yeah. That could be good, and they're going to go ahead and lock in the Fiora, which Utara has shown, you know, he is very adept at playing. We'll see. The big question here is, how is Hippo's Gangplank? Nerfs aside.
I'm really worried. Hippo's not a carry-minded player. Gangplank doesn't have a great matchup against Fiora, and Hippo is almost solo carrying the physical damage of his team. Lulu purely magic, Corki at least 70% magic damage, so they're going to need a lot from Hippo, and given the nerfs towards his gold generation, it's going to be later and later into the game. It's been CJ consistently that have been opting into late game damage. This time it's Kongdoo, and I do worry about the rest of the Gangplank on top.
Yeah, this could be pretty rough, especially if he gets an early visit by bubbling on that Elise.
If, when.
Yeah. And granted, he can cleanse off the Cocoon, but we'll see what happens. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, it's the 3rd and final game.
Get there soon.
Yeah.
Still a bit of time to think about things, ponder how things are going to work with the Orianna. Remember, Orianna, slow ramp up, needs to get that ability power after getting cooldown reduction. Kramer's still going to be building into tier. Jungle matchup might be the story. This time Crush on a very early game jungler. No Devourers here. Going to be all about early game pressure. Let's see if Elise can go up top and ruin the day of Gangplank.
Yeah.
Because that's certainly a possibility for CJ Entus.
Yeah, very possible. I'll do my outro now. I'm just getting itchy on the trigger finger. I just want to get into this game and see what happens. But we are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, it's 3rd and final game, CJ Entus versus Kongdoo Monster.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Welcome back to Champions. On the rift for the 3rd and final game here. CJ coming off of a pretty convincing win in the second game. Losing a pretty sad game in the first. Kongdoo going to try to pick up another set victory here. So far, have really been unable to do so.
Failing that, will they be able to slay the unkillable BDD and Kramer, of course, who both have not died, despite the fact that this series is at 1-1.
Or will CJ slay the one-eyed monster?
This is the question, and for the ages, I like it.
Really
Kilios, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
BDD staying tight. Still got Ignite on that Orianna. Control mages or utility mages with Ignite. It's a purview that only Faker was willing to visit, and BDD doing it as well.
Showing why he is called Faker 2. Kramer, interestingly enough, going for the Warlords on Ezreal.
Okay, well, sustain. Once you're around 20% health, you're getting 20% lifesteal. It does scale non-linearly, so the lower health you get, you really start getting that extra lifesteal. CJ have been spotted in the lane swap, and we're seeing actual mirror invades.
Yeah, so actually Crush going to get pushed straight out of the jungle here. You can see Latara and Bubbling are over by these wolves. Does get the smite away.
Only get the one big wolf, though.
Yeah, so that's going to put a pretty big damper on his jungle timing. Going to be late to hit, but you can see Kramer
oh my
and Mad
goodness,
Life,
they're going to steal the blue
they're
buff.
just going for the whole thing. They say, you know what, we don't want the little minions, we want the big one. Take out the blue buff.
So you expend the extra time to actually take the buff. You look down bottom, We did not see Kongdoo Monster stay. They went to lane instead.
Yeah.
To see how that develops things. Might actually affect the time that we see these turrets fall in the 2, 3, 4v0 lanes.
Could very well have a pretty significant outcome on the early game here. See both still just opting for that double jungle. Now going to be splitting off from each other.
Isolated mid lane matchup. I was speaking how Orianna does well in this matchup. It's not early. It's not till she gets points in her queue. So definitely around levels 7 to 9. She can push back and harass, because Lulu does get into auto attack range a lot. But in the early levels, when she doesn't have the same base damages, she has to struggle just in a CS turret. So a lot of lane control goes over to Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, looks like both are just going to go for the shove on these towers, respective bot and top tier ones.
Very exciting, interactive League of Legends.
Amazing. Edge already using the teleport, goes back, it's another Doran's ring. For a little bit of extra HP, some mana sustain, and a little bit more damage they can throw out at BDD with those Glitter Lances. Crush takes away the blue buff, so both sides trading blues.
Ideal to give it over to Crush. One thing that CJ accomplished is that often we see Rek'Sai's path around the jungle to not pick up their blue and then pass first blue off to their mid laner to get them a start. Because of the steal, it means that Rek'Sai has to pick up the buff, but because they control the bottom side of the map, we are going to see Kongdoo start dragging.
Yeah, really good decision nearby Kongdoo. So they trade the towers, but they will come out ahead with this dragon. So really solid early game. Kongdoo Monsters, CJ, he's 6 minutes behind them. So
with the priority in dragons going up, because of course now second buff, fourth buff arguably are important buffs to go along with 1, 3, and 5 that will always must get. Cornerstones of a winning team comp. I thought that teams would be much more worried to lane swap to the top side just because this trade of Rift Herald for Dragon seems more and more lopsided towards the advantage of the team that picks up first Dragon. Now, of course, there are ways to play around that. You can just use the exact timer to be there. But given that you're playing around the bot side, you should have defensive vision. Your pinks might be defended. I thought it would be too much of a risk to give things up. So it's important to note that CJ's lane swap has lost them control of the Dragon early.
Yeah. You can see this is just going to be Kongdoo swapping Soul and Gugur right up to that top side of the map. Hippo is there as well, so they're just going to continue on these pushes, and Tara going to have to recall back. He's not going to get caught in that dive scenario. Just going to be Kramer and Mad Life with a pretty stacked wave. Going to burn down that tower as fast as they possibly can.
Push, push, push.
Yep, so just going to be pretty much mirrored. Crush waiting here, though, in the Raptor pit. Trying to get a gank onto BDD.
Looking for an angle, waiting for BDD to overextend.
It looks like he's just going to give up on the hunt. Just backs off and will go and continue to counter jungle and then can rotate up and help with this tower if necessary.
Definitely have to track the minion away and see if they get the pushbacks with these avatars being done. On the face of it, Tara has more mobility on the Fiora, so you'd expect in these top and bot lanes with no turrets to defend or no turrets to go back to, you'd expect that Tara to have an advantage. Gangplank having to overextend to farm. It's going to be very, very gankable.
Oh, nice flash away by Edge and bubbling with a very questionable one. Does not find anything in that mid lane, so flash for flash.
You know you're late for the flash when you don't even get a chance to throw the cocoon.
Yeah, you didn't even throw the cocoon.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So just a little ahead of himself there, Bubbling.
Bubbling's definitely got not necessarily a target on his back, but he's got a lot of competition now that Daydream is officially in the roster. So maybe just a bit overeager trying to prove himself. He's been fine this series, but you know, he's certainly improved based on where he was in week 1, week 2 of Champions. But once Daydream gets his footing, once Daydream starts scrimming, I know a lot of analysts expect him to be back in the roster. Is he the Daydream of 2 years ago is the question we just don't have the answer to, though.
Yeah, really hard to judge on that. Only time will tell.
He went to Brazil, and if we learned anything about Brazil, if you watch Crown and Winged play, they are amazing players now after being just squad players before they went to Brazil. So the Brazil buff could be real.
You never know. It worked for Ole in the LMS as well in Hong Kong esports. Pretty good showing. But the team's not doing so hot these days. We can see Mad Life pretty deep into the enemy jungle. Crush will go ahead and spot him out. Knock him up though, that's going to be into the cocoon. Edge coming around the side, does have the wild growth, throws it on him, tunnels out to safety.
Don't know about the communication there, tunneling out to safety as the wild growth comes in.
Yeah, pretty solid. Kramer, though, just trying to shove up as far as possible against Hippo on this GP. Tara, meanwhile, stuck all in his lonesome underneath of this turret. Cougar and Soul.
Any hope of wave clear, only level 4, only a long sword and a Doran blade to go with the initial purchases.
Yeah, the closest he's going to get is a Tiamat, and he's a ways away from that.
CJ still the second blue buff as well. His mid lane is going to start getting tilted by no blue buffs.
Pretty solid control. You see Mad Life has arrived to help out Untara and alleviate some of this pressure. It's been very heavily pushed down upon him. BDD still playing quite aggressively and really winning these trades against.
You thought Tier Ezreal was greedy. I'll introduce you to Tier Cull Ezreal. I'll be back in 25 minutes, guys.
That is an interesting build path here from Kramer, but if he can maintain the way that he's been playing, it'll be pretty good for him. But maybe now caught out. That's a run for the wall, jumps over the Arcane Shift. He will stay alive for the time being, trying to keep that perfect death record going right now, BDD as well.
Edge was pushed in, so it's actually a smart time. As look, there's another CJ80 carry, space in the audience. His replacement, Kramer, has got a lot of plaudits this season, so he's going to have to be happy about that.
I thought I snuck in. I thought they didn't know I was here.
It's hard for Space to go around stealthily. Did play for CJ Entus, one of those popular teams in Korea for a very long time.
Mad Life waiting in the brush here is spotted by that ward that's been thrown down. Oh! Instant Valkyrie over the wall, instant package over the wall. And this is going to be Cougar actually getting found here. It takes a bit of damage. Crush as well, gets head-butted back, and now Untara coming around the sidelines. They're taking a lot of damage. Soul's arrival is going to have to be CJ backing off the fight.
BDD thought he was holding on to the ult, but did not have Dissonance available, so no chance to go in.
Yep, Soul waiting in the wings here, going to try to get the steal.
Low.
Yeah, takes a bit of damage. 2 more stacks from the concussive blows. He's not going to go down. Bubbling takes the blue buff.
Still no mid laners with the blue.
Yep. It's not going to happen. They'll just keep getting stolen away or taken by the jungler, so.
With the changes, BDD is back to Athene's Unholy Grail. Always been a staple of builds for Orianna. With the ability to command protect, to just always getting an assist in a team fight. It's a 12% max mana. Makes a very satisfying purchase. Going to be a GP10 route for Edge.
Looking to try to get the consistent gold since it's being pushed around by BDD a little bit, though he still is out CSing him. So.
The big winner from the side of Kongdoo has been Hippo himself. He's been 15 to 20 CS above Untara, but of course, the moment the minion wave pushes out, going to have to recall and find somewhere else safe on the map to farm.
Yeah. It's a shame it'd be so much more gold in his pocket over top of Untara, because Parlay did not get nerfed.
Probably wouldn't have got it that low on the draft because Parlay hadn't been nerfed.
That's also true. Probably would have been banned.
Turns out Gangplank was pretty ridiculous before.
Yeah.
But now he's going to hit his item timings later, and it already felt like some games were being played around Gangplank and his power spikes before, and it feels like that's going to be even more the case now as Cougar shows why everyone loves to pick Braum into Ezreal.
Yep, Kramer.
Pop that ult.
Kramer forgetting for a second that there was a Braum on the enemy team. And in the same lane as him. They're not able to get as aggressive of a shove, but they will go ahead and finish that off. Looks like they're going to back some good amount of gold in the pocket of Kramer right now, I believe. Especially if he gets closer to, you know, burning through those coal stacks.
Yes, the good old coal stacks. About 50 left. Was first dragon over to Kongdoo because of the lane swap. To deny CJ an answering dragon.
Yeah, just hearing that Rek'Sai screech. You have to scare them away from it, so don't want to make a big mistake that costs them the game just 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in. So just opt to go ahead and back off, but this is going to likely set up for Kongdoo at least to have vision control around this Dragon Pit, if not take it for themselves.
It's been the same story in Game 2 as it is in Game 3. Kongdoo, they've got Orianna in bed that's waiting to power up. She wants a second AP item to pair with the Athene's Unholy Grail. They've got the world's greediest Ezreal build. Still doesn't have any semblance of damage. Literally spent all his gold on investment and mana. But Kongdoo, they need to take advantage of windows like this. They couldn't do it in Game 2 and eventually paid a very heavy price as CJ ran away with the game. And if things are this even 30 minutes in, CJ will be primed to do the same thing again.
We'll see if it comes down to that. BDD in a bad spot into the cannon barrage as well. Crush comes over the wall. That's not going to keep him alive, and there you go. BDD's perfect death record is now ruined. But the fight continues as Cougar gets caught by that cocoon, and Tara is here for the damage. Grand Challenge gets thrown down. Cougar's almost going down. Tara does find the kill, but it looks like he might die himself. Has to flash away. Flash forward by Soul. Just a little bit more damage. The rocket, not enough. Tara will walk out with his life. It's 1-for-1, a mid for a support.
Just a 1-for-1, and Ezreal was the only member of either team that didn't group around it, so find some time for free farm. BDD is mortal confirmed. But Kramer, still immortal.
Yeah. Kramer's still keeping it going. Jumps over the wall. Going to try to clear out this wave to deny as much damage as possible onto that tower. But first blood bonus, of course, going over to Kongdoo off of that take. So now it's just about 400 gold. So they're pretty even. First blood gold aside.
When you've got an Ezreal with Cull and Tia, even is ahead. So whatever the gold lead says, CJ is winning this early game.
That is quite true. BDD, unfortunately, just lack of vision control. We'll see this again.
Oh, look, a lot was invested for this game, but it was successful. It was pulled off. It was a nice shockwave to try and move them away, but kill was always going to be picked up. Cougar overstays. The funny thing is he lives with this fight for so long, just applying concussive blows. Knew he would die eventually. It can't quite get the answering kill on Antara. 2-for-1, it would have been worth, but with all the investments, CJ will be happy in the end with the result.
Yeah. Not too bad. It's all about watching BDD scale up on this Orianna and see how effectively they can deliver these grand shockwaves as we get into the later team fights. Looks like the second dragon of the game is going to be taken by Kongdoo Monster, not even going to be remotely contested by CJ. So, you know what, you just have it. We'll get the next one.
It's going to mean the turret pushing is going to be that much better. They go for the speculative steal from Kramer, but no such luck.
Yeah, not quite going to happen. Now for the time being, it's back to split pushing lanes. Untara up at the top. And, oh, we actually have a mid laner get a blue buff.
Forgotten dream for the first 14 minutes for BDD. And Edge finally have the blue.
Edge got his as well, yeah. Look at that. Everybody's happy in the end.
Now for some exciting wave clear. Watch these minions die. Dead.
Beautiful wave clear.
Another genocide of a minion wave.
I give that a 9 out of 10.
I give it 8 out of 8.
8 out of 8. Oh, memes. Anyway, so continue in the jungle. Taking a look at this. Look at this, the CS discrepancy between Crush and Bubbling. 72 to 50. That's pretty rough.
It is. Bubbling's been tasked with relieving pressure from lanes, though. If you've got the lane CJ have, you have to sacrifice your time. If you're just a farming jungler and there's Tias and Culls running around, the lanes will have no pressure. So probably necessary from Bubbling to be behind and farm. But again, it will all be worth it eventually if this is the current state of the game in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Not 30 minutes time. If that's a 45 minutes, it's a different story. But in 15 minutes, and you keep it at this arm's length, things will be fine from the perspective of CJ.
Red buff gets taken away. Soul not able to steal it with the big one. Despite having the vision, just didn't want to play that close to Mad Light. You can see them wrapping around toward this mid lane. Could be trying to apply some pressure, maybe take this tower.
You see Gangplank's got the lane frozen, so they're trying to group as 5 to pressure.
So they should be able to get some decent damage in here. Of course, have to respect the wave clear potential from Edge on this Lulu. So one more Glitter Lance. That's going to be the majority of it. So not even down to half HP. Tower's still sitting quite strong.
Well, the nature of the ball means you can put it under turret, not draw aggro, and have the threatening of the shockwave to the point where melee champions can't walk up to help with the wave clear. So they did have the potential to get turret damage, but forcing it down, especially with the threat of the Gangplank ult, just wasn't realistic from the perspective of CJ. That's why we didn't see Gangplank pushing out, was happy to keep the freeze.
Yep, needs all of the gold that he can get. Trinity Force has been completed by him.
No magical pink ward, only an Iceborne Gauntlet icon this game for Ezreal.
It actually worked out this time.
Really? I don't know, this seems worse. I like the magical pink ward.
It was pretty nice. It was very confusing for all of 5 minutes. Bo just playing the very patient farming game.
Well, needs to do.
Yep.
Tara has to overextend really far up. That's why he needs Bubbling to come help pressure.
They won't get spotted by the Spooky Ghost, however, so Hippo is going to be able to remain quite safe and still get his minions. So CJ just not able to find the opening that they want quite just yet.
Again, they're not the team that's pressured for openings. They've got Ezreal and Orianna. Sure, they could have blown this game open a bit further, but they're not the ones under pressure. That's what we have to remember moving forward.
Yep, still just playing the patience game. A little bit more pressure in the mid side, but 4 members getting in the wings. Not going to be able to get too much done. Corky now rotating back down to that bot side to answer Kramer's push. Has suffered a little bit as far as CS goes, falling a bit behind this Ezreal. But should be able to catch up if he sticks around in that bot lane for a little bit. Tara continuing that push on to that tier 2 tower, which we know that Hippo will be more than happy to receive because he's just going to freeze it again. But overall, this game playing out very much like the last. Pretty slow for the beginning. And then hopefully we'll get some explosive action before the 30-minute mark.
I wouldn't hold your breath. There's too many people on this map that are incentivized to freeze lanes for there to be explosive action.
Shot Barrage gets blocked, of course, by Cougar. Double Spooky goes on to Kramer. But no one wants to follow up on that. This is just going to be Kongdoo backing off.
I'm just going to chill out over here. There's literally nothing happening on the Rift. Nothing much to say whatsoever.
Yep.
So what you playing on your 3DS? I saw you had it in the studio today.
Ocarina of Time.
All right,
timeless classic.
It's good timing, isn't it? A Zelda anniversary year? 25 years of Zelda or something like that, I believe.
I think that's past. I know it's 25. I know it's 20 years of Pokemon.
That's right. It's a Zelda. It is a Pokemon year.
Yeah, it's 20 years of Pokemon, which is absurd to think about. I've been playing that game for 20 years.
Makes me feel old. You're not even old, but it does make me feel old.
Yeah, it just made me realize that I really got into it when I was younger.
You were 3 when the original Pokemon was released. You baby, you. You're bringing the average age of the OGN casting team down, so that's good.
There you go.
Or bad, depending on how you look at it. But I think it's good. We need a bit of youthful exuberance.
All right, well, Dragon now spawning in about 6 seconds. This could be some potential for a fight to happen, and maybe some action. I will once again not hold my breath on this, but it's quite possible.
You don't hold your breath. I'll withhold judgment. We're just not committing to anything, just like these teams.
Yeah. So right now it's just a war for the vision. Dragon does get started up, though.
CJ are really worried because the first 2 dragons came pretty fast. You know, obviously we saw the first one at 5 minutes.
Oh, wow, look at this. This is going to be Kramer going in for Soul. Does not hit that crucial Mystic shot.
Helpful Krugs actually running interference.
Yeah. So,
with him chunked out, though.
Yeah, chunked out the Quirky. So now makes CJ feel comfortable to go for their first dragon. They will go ahead and get it. It's a good pickup for them.
Well, that doesn't help with the game ending faster.
Nope. No, it does not.
The issue for Kongdoo is that you think of the champions that CJ have drafted. When you draft Orianna, you don't think about the laning phase. When you're sitting there as champs, like, I think I might play Orianna this game. You think of those games where you have Athene's Unholy Grail, Deathcap Void stuff. You're like, man, I've exploded people, the shields are amazing. You don't think about the ramp-up phase where the game kind of plays around you. She's not quite Nasus in that way, in that she has the good wave clear, she can be competitive. The matchup against Lulu is pretty good. But you don't think about the early phase, just like you don't think about Blue Ezreal before you have 2-3 items. The worrying thing for Kongdoo is they haven't blown this game open, and that worrying late game phase is only getting closer. Not even mentioning Fiora can do some pretty scary things, and okay, Gangplank in the late game does damage in team fights, but it's been yet to be seen whether you can reliably do damage with Gangplank with only access to 3 barrels, because it seemed hard enough with access to 5.
Yeah, it seems like he's now just much more of the kind of champion that you use it, you have to sit there and wait. Like maybe you parlay And then you wait, because it's like 10 seconds or something to recharge your barrels.
Well, you just think about Gangplank in fights before. You would set up 5 barrels, and it's like, and then you have the cannon barrage, and it's like you can't walk anywhere near here.
Yeah.
Now you set up those barrels, and if you ever misfire or they're flashed away from, the barrel linking's not happening for, even with 40% CDR, 12 seconds, which is a long time in a team fight. So you have to be so much more precise. And it was already a champ that had such high skill cap, expensive build. It just feels like everything's stacking against Gangplank being a factor. But if the game goes long enough, you get the right barrels, anything can happen.
Kramer gets jumped on, takes a good chunk of damage, down to about 50% HP. He will stay alive, however. Damage from Soul's Corking not quite yet there to be on 100-0.
Death cap finished, so that means the burst, but specifically the shields will be a lot larger from BDD.
Yep, should be good. Lichbane build, of course, coming out from Edge as well. So try to play that more aggressive Lulu. Haven't seen too much action quite just yet from him, though he does have the only kill from the side of Kongdoo.
Just clearing waves. Suits Hippo. Suits most of CJ though, so again, slight advantage to CJ, but there's a lot of playmaking potential from specific champions here. Gangplank can win the game with a certain barrel combination. Orianna, Untara, between the two of them, BDD and Tara, the Orianna and Fiora combination could certainly set off a massive wombo of damage, and then if you get that first kill, the healing field will mean that CJ will probably run over Kongdoo Monster. So again, we're kind of sitting there thinking about the future. It's almost like a delicious meal is being cooked in front of us, but we're just sitting there being like, oh, I just want to eat it. I just want to eat all of it.
I'm ready for it to be ready.
You ready for the delicious Kongdoo CJ meal?
I don't know if it would be delicious.
I mean, it could be explosive at the minute.
A few more minutes till the fourth dragon of the game spawns. Maybe we'll get a fight, probably not.
You know, I need to learn this about champions. Things happen when they're good and ready. Korea wants to win worlds, they'll get there eventually, okay?
They should happen when I'm good and ready, which is literally this second. Advance on the Cougar. It's a Cocoon as well, but very little damage to follow up. Looks like the blue buff will go across to Edge. So this is some progress. Mid laners getting more and more blue buffs.
Oh, great.
So.
That means they can clear waves better.
Yeah. Glitterlance is up every 3 seconds now.
Hooray.
Crush spotting out Mad Life and Kramer on the side.
I just feel like the tools CJ have will be that much more impactful on fights. I'm waiting for that first big shockwave. You know, we've only seen disengage shockwaves so far. Maybe the go time will be the second item on Untara. It's just waiting for the recipe for Black Cleaver.
Quite possibly. What do you think about this, the boots choice here from Kramer? He's going for the Swifties. Do you think that the Ionian boots of Lucidity would be better now with that massive increase to Israel's ultimate?
See, the big issue for Kramer is that if one slow hits, and whether that's Gangplank's barrels that of course still slow, if Lulu's Glitterlance hits, if he's just slowed by the concussive blows, he's probably dead. So I think it's actually a pretty smart build. It's just Swiftness boots went from being situational to the point that no one built them because they were just outclassed by Merc Treads for years and years of the history of League of Legends too. And auto include, they were so cheap, plus the slow resistance in the world of Swifty Ghosts was necessary, to now being situational. You look at the enemy team, Lulu with the Spooky Ghosts, with the just the Glitterlance, and also all the slows on the side of Kongdoo Monster. This is a situation which justifies the purchase of the Swifty Spirits.
Very good point. Also just helps Kramer that much more with his positioning. See Untara taking a hell of a lot of damage. The Cannon Barrage going down, throws out the Grand Challenge as well, but the flash forward, he will block the parlay, has to flash away. So flash for flash, ultimate for ultimate, neither top laner are going to go down in that exchange.
Yeah, Untara face checked, took 700 health crit, and then from there had to run away. So they trade flashes. Overall result is map pressure advantage to Kongdoo, but nothing more. Dragon spawns in a minute though, but crucially, Gangplank used his ultimate, and it feels like the space control of the Cannon Barrage is more important than the Grand Challenge if we do see a fight.
That's very true, but we see teleport is going to come across. Untara just now starting to match that. Shockwave comes through, catches 2 people. Cougar gonna go down immediately. Hippo on the run. Now at half HP, Mad Life trying to get the catch. Does have that ultimate ticking. Looks like CJ is gonna have to back off. His BDD is pretty low. They do just opt to start up the Dragon again, but this could be a little bit risky, especially with that spike damage that Soul has coming through. Dragon down to half HP. Lovely gonna try to outsmite Crush. Let's see who gets it. It's gonna be Gangplank of all people, confirming the kill. But now they go on to Hippo inside the pit. They take him down. Kramer finding that kill. Soul gonna try to fire out with these rockets, get some damage through, but he's not gonna be able to find any real targets.
It's an aggressive teleport from Edge. Does have full health.
Yep.
They really don't want to give up mid turret as an answer for this Dragon.
Yep, Kramer doing what he can, gets the flash away with that cocoon from bubbling on the sidelines. They will get the tower, and CJ Entus finally making some moves to put themselves in the lead in this game.
Definitely a relatively early outer turret, which seems a crazy thing to say at 28 minutes, but outer turrets have been exceptionally sturdy in a world where Lulu, Azir, Orianna, and the like have been running mid lane.
Yep. So,
was unfortunate for CJ that it ended up losing that Dragon to the Gangplank Q. Okay, Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah,
really going aggressive.
They see the recall from bubbling, and they just want to go straight for the Baron, try to
back
rush
up.
it down. Yeah, they have to be very cautious about fighting this enclosed space against this Orianna, especially with Cougar at half HP. Kramer coming through. It's going to be the Glacial Fissure. Shockwave only finds Crush. Kramer, taken so low, has to back out of here. This might just be the disengage from both sides. BDD flashes the wall, will get away from the barrels, keeps himself alive. And I think that's just going to be the disengage from both sides. I don't think Kongdoo's going to run back over to that Baron. Several members of CJ almost going down, but managing to stay alive.
That's the important factor. So CJ successfully dissuaded the Baron. That's all they were really looking for in that situation. Crisis averted from a CJ perspective.
Yep, only had to use a few summoner spells. I think it was really just BDD's flash, which that's pretty worth. So, good play by CJ to stop that very aggressive Baron attempt.
You don't really have the damage to be DPSing down the Baron.
Yeah.
Gangplank will end up tanking shots and then just suffering reduced damage and just taking a lot. He's still very, very squishy with a full carry build. Crush has itemized it almost exclusively for magic resistance or getting the Warden's Mail, so even he's relatively affected by the Baron damage.
I still want to see that Dragon. I want to see what spell Hippo stole it with, whether it was a parlay or a barrel.
Hippo's definitely getting the items together. Gangplank's certainly not a non-factor in the late game, even after the changes.
He can just about almost one-shot Kramer, probably, if he gets a crit.
We saw a barrel crit onto BDD in the last fight do 2/3 of his health, but there was no other diving members, so BDD was still able to get the shockwave off.
Pretty even in gold across the board. Hippo stretching ahead of Untara, both because he has a pretty massive CS lead and also has that extra parlay gold, so understandable that he would be ahead. Untara just not really able to find too much ground. Does have a kill, hasn't died yet, but not the crazy aggressive carry Fiora that we saw from him last week.
Struggled in game 1 on this Fiora as well, just never found an entrance into fights. Definitely no fault of his own, just felt like Kongdoo really respected the Fiora.
That Tom catch was just
sturdy.
Destroying.
He's a sturdy man. Hippo once again investing in the QSS early.
Yep. Look at that wave clear.
Such as Gangplank.
Such as this game.
Wave clear wars. That would definitely be the subtitle of this epic. I feel like the final cut of this game will be much shorter than the action we've seen transpire. Summarize it in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Summarize it in about 15 seconds.
Just show Lulu walking up to a minion wave on repeat.
Yeah. Everyone farmed a lot, and then a team won the game.
A champion story.
It's gonna be my first published novel.
Tara doesn't want to face check another burst of damage. Actually, Hippo gets a bit quick. Maybe he thought there might be a ward in there.
I think he just saw the wave and was like, ooh, I want that.
CJ do have options against Kongdoo because Kongdoo lost their out of mid lane turret, so still waiting for that wombo engage. No investment in the Void Staff yet, despite the fact that the locket was finished very early for Crush, so BD doing damage situationally, but not the massive late game Orianna just yet.
Untara just pushing that lane out, knowing that Hippo is just going to be waiting there.
So the big story is in a minute, though. It's about the 4th dragon. The 4th dragon provides a very relevant buff now, the 20% damage reduction from turrets. Someone like Guga and Crush will be able to walk under turret, and even without big purchases of armor will be very, very tanky. And of course, it's the inevitable march towards the 5th dragon, so expect a big fight there soon. Oh boy.
Yeah, Tara taking a lot of damage. Barrels go through. Nice repose to deny that one. It's going to be the Camera Mirage on the backside, though. Has to flash away. Hippo will keep himself alive as the wave is there to tank up the tower for him. That's going to be a tier 2 going down for Kongdoo. Nice play by Hippo on this gangplank.
And we keep missing the start of these trades. Is it a mistake from Untara, or just really creative play from Hippo that he always starts off with a big burst on Untara's health? That much is unclear. No investments towards armor, of course, is going to be the Sterix Gauge is the next purchase for Untara. So, you gotta say, going against my expectations, once again, it's been a gangplank having a significant pressure advantage on a Fiora.
Yeah. I guess we just need to keep nerfing gangplank.
I'm on it.
1 barrel.
Only 1 barrel.
20-second cooldown. And your orange no longer breaks CC.
All right. Seems fair.
I think we've effectively balanced it.
We'll even give him 1 more gold on his parlay as a compensation. We are benevolent in that way. So, crucial 4th dragon for Kongdoo Monster. They have had time to set up, so many barrels to respect. This gangplank certainly is strong.
Yeah, they're in a pretty advantageous position. Bubbling already taking a bit of damage. And I just don't know if CJ is going to be able to find much of a way in to contest this dragon. Kongdoo not starting up quite just yet. Maybe looking for a pick instead. Kramer is just going to keep firing down these Mystic shots as much as he can.
CJ looking for the poke. Will they get the ball carrier they need? Looks like it might be Mad Life.
It's down to about half HP on this dragon. Bubbling in the pit all on his lonesome. Kongdoo could collapse down onto him. Shockwave comes through, finds Hippo and Soul. Now the fight is broken out. Crush has to flash away. Looks like he may just go down. Cannon Barrage still raining hell in the center of this fight. BDD will finish off the wreck side. That's going to be the 2nd dragon for CJ as well. So very nice patience coming out from CJ Entus. Net themselves another dragon and a kill for BDD.
It's a really nice wombo combo. They get the Orianna ult they've been looking for. It doesn't burst people down. Crucially, no Void Staff yet, but it's enough to pick up the objective. They all run towards Baron. They're just going to be there quickly. They know that it hasn't been started, so no Baron yet for CJ Entus.
Yep, looking for the bait a little bit here, but I don't think that they're going to find much of anything. The buff gets down. They take it down. Edge finds that one.
Teleport coming in.
Package used by Soul, so he will not have that for the next team fight. Hippo splitting in the bot lane, however. It's going to be the Baron started up here by CJ Entus.
Holding cooldowns down. Orianna just gets her ultimate. No ult yet for Gangplank.
That TP coming through. The Baron almost going down. Crush is not there for the smite. It's going to be CJ that picked this one up. Let's see how the fight goes out. A triple shockwave going through, just ripping through the health bars of Kongdoo. Crush on the run. I don't think he's going to get out of this one alive. Hippo as well goes back in onto Kramer. Can't find him. He dashes away. That's going to be the Wild Growth coming through. Mad Life doing what he can. True Shot Barrage just going to tickle that gangplank. Bubbling throws out the cocoon, finds the hit. But they're just going to have to back off. Looks like Crush does go down in the end by Kramer's hands. All in all, only one person falling on the side of CJ. Untara going to have to dash out of this one.
Have to be really careful about Hippo. If he gets another barrel link, he will take down more members. Took down BDD. It's 3-for-1 in the Baron, though. Big win so far for CJ.
He does have Cannon Barrage as well. Inches back in. Untara already takes a lot of damage, basically out of mana as well. The barrels come through, but they deny the first one and the second. We're taking a lot of damage. Now with those Baron-empowered minions, the turret falling quite low. It's not going to go down. A lot of some good damage, and overall, very nicely played by CJ.
A lot of credit to Hippo, though. With 3 members down and the Baron buff, it looked like they would lose their inhibitor at minimum. So CJ rushed down. Where was Crush during all of this? That's the question we don't know the answer to. This is a really nice shockwave on both carries. Soul dies instantly on the Corgi, but watch Hippo. This should be, honestly, basically the game over. We're 40 minutes in, or close to 40 minutes in already, but Hippo hits a massive barrel lock. Untara kind of goes all in to kill Guga, gets the kill eventually, but if the Fiora was fighting with carries, there wouldn't have been the space for Hippo to spare the blushes for Kongdoo.
Yeah, and really questionable by Crush as well to go back in to Kramer and then just gets killed by him instantly. He had only a few hundred HP. I guess he thought that Hippo and Edge were going to be able to re-engage successfully, and he wanted to back them up, but it seems like a bit of miscommunication as far as what the plan was moving forward in that fight.
So we're seeing an adaptation from Hippo and item builds. If you think about Gangplank's of yore, Trinity Force and the Infinity Edge make a lot of sense, but from there it was into something like Sterix Gauges, into something like the more Malmortius, building tankiness, because you could get those multiple barrel combos. This is a combat Gangplank. This guy's getting in your face and auto-attacking, potentially with the wild growth and the whimsy from Lulu, and the consistent damage here is going to be just something we don't expect from Gangplank.
Yeah. We can see even with the Baroned up minions, the wave clear from this Gangplank and Lulu is just proving a little bit too much for CJ. Looks like they might be able to go in for the tower this time. Yeah, Bubbling's just going to take this one up and we'll be able to finish it off. But Siege not being quite as effective as you would like. Tara gets engaged on by Hippo, takes a bit of damage. This is just not a very good matchup for Untara, it seems.
Hasn't developed that way. It's big CS advantage. It's been about 50 or 40 to 50 throughout the majority of this game. Gangplank has to leave though. Respect the mid lane push from CJ.
Only getting a little bit of damage. Big wave accumulating in that bot side of the map though, so CJ could just rotate down and try to force that tier 2 out. Teleport's only almost available for both of these top players, so if the fight breaks out, they will be able to join them in about the next 15 seconds.
It was already very low. DPS down by the first rotation combo from Kramer.
Going for the tower. Baron buff has fallen off, but Kramer's got plenty of damage to push out. Gamma Barrage comes through. They're going to lose this wave. Has to jump out before they can take the tower.
It's a big teamfight cooldown down though, so it buys them one wave. Not sure if that's worth the investment of the Cannon Barrage. They were inevitably going to lose. This turret goes down now. Gangplank about 100 seconds away from having that again, and CJ aren't done.
Yeah, they're just going to continue this push. They know that Hippo's still up top. Now rotating down. But I don't think he can stick around for too much longer now. No wave with them, so Ghost go out. Not going to be able to find too much.
With the pressure of having both mid and bot inner turrets down, suddenly the safety about taking the third dragon is established. Kongdoo are only now going to start pushing out waves, but CJ choose to have deep vision. There's very little that Kongdoo can do, so maybe start getting that dragon stack going. Definitely no guarantee that we're going to see a pre-50-minute game, because these team fights are on a knife's edge, especially if Hippo gets his big barrel combo off.
Yeah, he has been the sole factor that, that wasn't meant to be a pun, but the sole factor for why Kongdoo is not entirely out of this game.
Speaking of Soul, he's just 0-1-0, had little to no involvement in this game at all.
Yeah, unable to do a whole lot, though. He didn't really become that effective on Corki until the very end of the first game. Mad Life goes in there, they find Edge, they just layer the CC on with the Cocoon. Grand challenge for safety, BDD, he whiffs the Shockwave, trying to drag Crush out of that tunnel, but can't do it in time. But a nice pick and a big chunk of the wave clear from Kongdoo, now eliminated.
Edge is dead for 50 seconds still. Who knows what CJ can get in 5v4?
Well, it's definitely going to be an inhibitor as they push on to this. Other waves not really crashing nearby, so they can't rotate out and try to take any more towers, but this could just be their third dragon of the game. It has just spawned within the last minute or so.
By far the safest objective. They could also rotate around and get exclusive vision around Baron, which spawns in just over a minute and a half.
It looks like they're going to stick around and just opt for this bottom lane. Shockwave is almost back up for BDD.
That's going to be the surprise factor. You forget how short the cooldown is at 40%.
Especially with a blue buff.
Mad Life primed without flash, but looking for initiation. Back up.
Yep. He's got it, and he whiffs again. That was very uncharacteristic for BDD, but they still get the tower. It just means that they cannot stick around.
Zoning Shockwave.
Oh yeah, okay. Just give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's what you say in comms.
Yep.
Got to spare your blushes,
yep,
you know?
Yep. Oh, I was just trying to scare them.
Yep, they were scared. He got the inhibitor turret, so something.
Could have had their lives. Unable to get it though. Go for it, they will take this Dragon. Third for them, so now tied up on Dragon. CJ Entus looking pretty poised to be able to take this game.
Gold lead is still pretty minuscule in the context of 42 minutes. Only 4,500 gold. We've seen 4,500 gold leads in single-digit minutes of champions this season, so it's pretty equal so far. I'm just not sure. Again, I just don't know how to conceptualize this game plan, because the moment you see a melee champion build Phantom Dance, you're like, okay, so you're going to walk up and explode. And there is that potential, but if he's not singled out, if he does get the suite of shields, speed-ups, and the wild growth, if in some weird world he's able to free auto-attack, Gangplank is going to be doing unbelievable damage.
Yeah, he has picked up the Sterix gauge now, so is looking to get a little bit of tanky stats. So he will have some last ability. Sterix plus the wild growth might enable him enough time to blow up BD or Kramer. You never know, could happen.
Certainly an outside chance.
Yeah. But Baron has sent Spawn to be the second of the game here.
CJ's big objective is to force Hippo to waste Cannon Barrage. When you're trying to take Baron against Cannon Barrage, remember you're all taking that magic damage shred. Cannon Barrage just, you look at that death recap and it just casually does over 1,000 despite not itemizing into magic penetration or ability power, so they really need to respect that cooldown. That just by itself, you know, with the barrels especially, but by itself is a massive deterrent to trying Baron, so CJ really want to blow that cooldown if they can find a way.
You see the gold lead from Kramer has just grown just out of proportion against Soul. Almost,
6 items.
I think he's about 3,000 rolled up.
6 items and a booted chat up.
Yeah. He is full bot.
Meanwhile, it's 3 items in a little bit on Soul.
Does he have one?
Fair question. He does.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Full
Sorcery.
Kramer is 100% set. See, though, they're trying to apply some pressure with these super creeps in the mid lanes. They could perhaps go for this Baron. Looks like they might just... No, I'm not going to start it up.
Well, they know that there's been no way for Kongdoo to get in range of regular wards. So once you get those trinkets out, the cooldowns are there. Suddenly...
Yeah. Just the one more that's there for Edge. And they actually have already gone ahead and started up the Baron, getting down to about half HP.
Kongdoo have Rek'Sai, so they get a bit more information about what's happening in the Baron pit.
Yeah. Back off when Tara's just waiting. He's like, I want my home guards.
And the big thing here for Hippo is your Gangplank. When you show up with teleport, you do very little. You do more casting your ultimate than you do coming in from a flank. So needs to group with his team faster. He's the one that needs to be there to set up. He's the one with prep time, whereas Untara can just teleport into the back line.
Yep, Mad Life gets a pop-up on Crush, but he takes a lot of damage. Will get stunned by the concussive blows. He'll try to sustain himself back up and drive for the roar. And Tara has since joined the team, running in from the base. Doesn't look like we're going to have much of an engage so far. Massive wave in the top side.
Kongdoo ping into mid turret. You can see that CJ want to make a really aggressive move towards this inhibitor turret.
Yeah. Slow recalls coming in here from the Lulu and Corki. And this is just going to be them going straight back to the Baron. If they complete those recalls, they're going to go to Baron. Yep, Corki is still sticking around.
Shows himself. That was smart from Soul.
Yep.
But they know that at least one person's recalled, or at least they heavily suspect it.
Yep, still a giant wave pushing in that's got to be answered, so will be Edge going over for that. The TP is available for him as well, so he can join his team, but it looks like we're not going to have the Baron quite just yet.
Popped the Frost Queen's claim just to get any information to make sure nobody was coming to punish him, but CJ make the tactical retreat.
Yep.
So no punishments there. Zeke's Herald actually completed for release, so Public going for the team.
Yep.
I believe he's actually used it on BDD, so for even bigger shields. Ability power for both of them.
Yeah.
I'll confirm that the next time they're next to each other.
Pretty solid. Oh my God. Pretty solid itemization.
Not 6 items yet, but is the Mercurial Scimitar short of a full item build. And look, Soul's getting there. That's the crucial thing, is that he's getting there slowly.
Yeah, if he gets on to Kramer with the rotation of spells, he will kill him. So there's still a possibility for Kongdoo to come out on top of this game and this set. CJ right now, though, just a pretty good spot across the map.
They really need Gangplank to group with his team, again, has so little impact coming in with a teleport, has set up time with the barrels. You never teleport flanking with Gangplank, so he's screwed.
2 exposed inhibitors. CJ are pushing their way toward. Bot wave not crashing with them towards the top.
Inhibitor respawn, so less pressure points for CJ to take advantage of.
Yep. Just clearing out that vision. Crush is going to move right back in and clear out some as well.
Goblin really lazy with the recall.
Yeah, really interesting recall spot. Does get interrupted. Pressure being applied toward this tier 2 in the mid lane.
4th Dragon spawning soon.
Yeah, 20 seconds. 4th Dragon from either of these teams, so both very likely going to want to contest this.
Don't often see games where both teams are poised at 3 dragons apiece, but 4th Dragon is certainly one to contest now, with it being that new buff. We're on 6.4 guys, so it does give 20% reduction to turrets.
God forbid if we made it to a double 5 Dragon.
More than an outside chance.
Yeah, could
the
happen.
moment that you commit to dragons gives a lot of options to the enemy team.
Yeah, this one will be taken away by Crush. Flash forward, they get the cocoon. Crush still makes it through the tunnel. So they will get to safety.
Crush is definitely the straggler you want against an Elise, because he can complete the tunnel. They're walking over to Baron confidently, gonna expect a reaction. Gangplank's gonna be there late.
Rek'Sai ultimate has been used, so Crush is still in the area. Taro went over to that bot side to stop that massive wave that was crashing. Now gonna back and basically wait with his finger over the teleport button with those home guards.
Look, any team is a good Baron team 50 minutes in. You cannot give teams more than about 5 seconds free time with Baron, otherwise a Smite War is the best you can
Tara
hope
has
for.
already TP'd. He's going in over onto Hippo. Gets the flash away. He's on the run. The rest of the team's trying to get there. The shockwave comes through. Grand Challenge gets thrown down. He's probably going to die. That's going to be the knockup by Mad Life. Still has not fallen. It's just Mad Life by himself. The Cocoon comes through. Locks down Crush. True Shot Barrage does get blocked by Googer. And suddenly these teams are on the opposite side of the map where they should be.
It's insane that Gangplank got away, but CJ have positioning on multiple different things. Right now they're being defensive. They're looking to group. They want to take a time. They want to punish Gangplank for being out of position.
Yeah.
No guarantees yet.
That was the recall from him, but teleport's still available, so he can still very much rejoin the team.
How did Hippo live? Just insane. Didn't even pop the Mercurial Scimitar for a bit of extra movement speed.
Yep.
Smart movement from Kongdoo, though. That's the big factor, is that he opened up as much space as he could, but Kongdoo were there to back him up.
Yeah, it was a really good collapse for them, just straight up the river.
At 50 minutes, anyone dies, you're talking about a 70-second death timer. So, honestly, if you had to choose between a person dying and picking up Baron buff, I'd rather get the kill, just because defending 4v5 is so difficult.
Yeah.
We managed to deny both.
Yeah, that, even if you get the Baron buff, there's still an immense amount of wave clear from the side of Kongdoo.
Speaking of Kongdoo.
Yep. And go ahead and clear out this vision in the pit.
So much harder to bait Baron for CJ this game when they have to respect Rek'Sai's Tremor Sense compared to game 1.
Yeah. Looks like they're going to opt to just apply some pressure in this mid lane again. Clear out this wave as best as they can. Just try to get as close to the inhibitor as possible.
So we couldn't quite offer you the 5-minute pause, but the 50-minute epic certainly on full display.
It's a good way to start.
First of many.
Yeah, I can't wait. All this week.
We'll be seeing CJ against Spenu as Friday's only match, so more CJ on display.
More Spenu on display as well.
Hooray!
But we have a good day tomorrow.
True. We'll get to that later, as we have the schedule for you guys. CJ once again start off the Baron, but it's very, very tanky at this point in the game.
Yeah.
It is definitely Orianna with the buff coming through from the Zeke's Herald.
Yeah, Bubbling takes about 20% of his health and damage. Take away the blue buff. It's not going to get them so much at this point. Now it looks like CJ's just going to try to push up this top side, maybe get rid of the last inhibitor tower. Crush gets caught by that cocoon. Barely going to take any damage, however, from Bubbling.
CJ are making smart moves. Remember, with Dissonance, you have the ability for team-wide movement speed increases, but Lulu's so fast that they can never out-rotate the wave clear, because one of Lulu, Corki, and Gangplank will be there.
Cougar walking forward, takes a bit of damage, dashes to safety. The shockwave comes through. It's not going to hit anybody, but they will find Cougar. The Braum goes down. Kramer taking away that one. but is it enough for them to contest the Baron? I think they're going to go straight to the base.
That's probably the smarter move. The only frontliner on the side of Kongdoo Monster is the Braum, so they're going to have to be so careful with their positioning. So much frontline, so much beef from the Alistair and friends.
Yep. Just like that, that's going to peak the third and last inhibitor tower going down. The inhibitor looking like it's going to follow suit, and it does. Package gets used. Actually, it's still alive for the time being. Just one more hit would do the trick. Tar dashes forward, will finish it off, takes a bit of his health away for that one. Hippo coming around the sidelines, maybe going to be looking for a play.
Still 20 seconds. We see True Shot Barrage on that massive minion wave that's pushed up from Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, they have to back to answer this, but if they back, they could lose. They have to send Tara back, basically.
Remember, their opponent has no inhibitor turret, so giving up one to minions not ideal if you can secure the Baron.
It's very true.
Would be a decent trade, but they're going to teleport back in. Watch for Fiora.
Let's see where he's going to go. Comes into the backside, finds Hippo immediately, dashes through, throws out the Grand Challenge. Actually on the edge, already takes half of his health in damage. Flashes away from Cougar. Does not want to get locked up by those concussive blows. Suddenly we are at a Mexican standoff at the Baron Pit.
Standoff has been real for the majority of the 52 minutes this game has run. Looks like the inhibitor turret went down, so small objective for Kongdoo Monster, but they've got none of their own, and they really have to worry. The moment Untara starts to walk up to push waves, they have so many different things to think about. They feel like they're forced to Baron, they get it low.
Yeah, Hippo already taking a bit of damage from the Baron itself.
Remember, Super Minion's going to start pushing in. Untara had free time to push in that Super Minion wave in bot. Top, sorry.
Edge down below half HP, the Wild Growth still available for him. Just not able to find an opening on either side here.
Fifth Dragon spawning, but no way to get away from this Baron. Well, they want to trade. I guess there's an outside chance. CJ should be dictated. They should be... Kongdoo should be forced to respond to their movements. They're the ones with the inhibitor down. But because of the positioning on the map, Hippo does find time to recall.
Yep, he does go back, and he does have the teleport available as well. And now it looks like this is going to be Kongdoo just going straight over to the Dragon, which is just spawning fifth for them. That could be a way back into the game.
Just because of the side of the Baron they were on, CJ invited this. And look, it might be a Baron for fifth Dragon trade, but honestly, that's pretty even when you think about it.
Yep.
I'd take the fifth Baron, the fifth Dragon if I was me.
Well, it's going to be CJ taking that.
And whatever your value is on fifth Dragon versus Baron, when you have an inhibitor down, you got to pick. You should have positioning, and you should be the one dictating a favorable trade. The fact that Kongdoo got something approaching a favorable trade with their inhibitor down is just poor understanding of positioning from CJ.
Yeah.
If they were the ones kiting down and Kongdoo Monster were having to kite up around the Baron, you can't just go and take Dragon from that position. Yeah. But because of where they were, where that Mexican standoff was occurring, CJ gave Kongdoo more than they ever should have gotten.
Yep. And now, especially with that fifth Dragon buff, Hippo becomes that much more terrifying. He already has true damage built into his auto attacks. Now he's got a fifth Dragon as well.
Cannon Barrage will be applying that true damage.
Yeah, and this is really just all about what CJ can do with this Baron buff.
Well, Kongdoo just won a fight. They've got the 5 Dragons. Everyone now, even Lulu, is a late game damage threat, so...
Yep. See, this tower will go down.
They've got that 3-minute window with 5th Dragon. Remember, they take 40% reduced damage from turrets. The damage dot doubles against turrets. 12% bonus damage in general, which for Corki is insane, given his mixed damage status.
Yeah.
CJ should just wait out this buff. They just ended up trading buffs. They should just wait out 5th Dragon.
This is going to be a 1-hour game.
It's looking like it, but again, 2 kills come in, game's over.
Yeah, pretty much. Massive wave in that bot side of the map. Creep still pushing into the top as well. So CJ in a decent spot as far as the waves go. They might be able to pressure out, get another inhibitor, if not both of them. Make for a very dire situation for Kongdoo.
All combat summoners are up, all ults except for Kramer's are up. Remember, no inhibitor turrets at all. Kongdoo need to initiate.
That massive wave, this inhibitor is just going to be melted. Hot knife through butter. Take this one down. So some more pressure applied for CJ. Now with those minions crashing into the top lane as well, looks like they're just going to be able to force this mid lane inhibitor.
Kongdoo need to make a clear call. They need to go in. They will just watch all 3 inhibitors die.
Well, that's a good way to start. Kramer quite low. This could be the cannon
Cannon
barrage,
barrage.
and it is. It's going off. They pop up with Zara. That's going to be a massive shockwave, though. Gruber goes down. Crush goes down as well. This is going to be Kongdoo just having to run for the sanctity of the fountain. 5 members alive. I think this might be the game and the set here in favor of CJ.
The team with the less initiation loss, so consistent in this set. Kongdoo realized they needed to fight with 5th Dragon, but that was a flash unburrow. That was a flash ult from Brom. They're not initiators. They were forced into the role, and eventually they're going to be overwhelmed by the minion power of CJ.
Yeah. Really sketchy from time to time. Hippo was looking so good, but in the end, CJ Entus does come out on top. They win the set against Kongdoo, 2-1 again for the 2nd time in less than a week.
Exactly, for the 2nd time in 6 days they win 2-1, but this one was a lot closer. This time Kongdoo looked really good in multiple games, not just in their victory. A lot of their players should have their heads held high. CJ finally get it over the line, but you take out their mid laner Sky, you put in bubbling, not a lot changes. Okay, BDD had a very good, take out Sky, you put in BDD.
Yep.
Game 2, very impressive, good carry performance. Game 3, some of those Orianna shockwaves left a bit